And hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Good to see you. Thank you so much for your patience. Just had to turn on all the switches and the buttons. So thank you wherever you're joining me. I see you, Lorianne from LinkedIn. South Bay Creations is here as well from YouTube. Lori Bessert from LinkedIn as well. So this is gonna be really fun. I have a huge, like a ton of pro tips that I plan on sharing with you. Everything you need to know about Photoshop, pro tips, up to date, up to the very minute, August 19th, 8:02 a.m. here in Denver. So feel free to say hello. I see Frank there as well. Elizabeth, Steve, awesome. So let's kind of get this party started, shall we? Clever Devlin, shall we do that? Let me just kind of excuse me, let me just kind of switch over really fast and turn off some of this other stuff. And I've actually already have a lot of this like set up. So anyways, let's just dive in, shall we? Cool. Uchina, awesome. So I'm gonna jump into this first, starting off with the setup, by the way. So right in here, I have this file open, right? There's a number of ways we could start in Photoshop. You can see this file open. I can always see the files that I have right here. I can find out where they live, where their home is, just by right-clicking, reveal in Finder. So I'll do that a lot. You know, and you can see this one actually is pretty complex. It's got pretty complex. So we could talk about sort of loading all these assets easily, by the way, because this is, how many layers? Let's take a look. Layer count, right down there at the bottom. This is where you can find out the layer count. There's 127 layers, 5 groups. So how was this started? Well, I'll show you right now. And let me know if you have any questions. So I jumped out here. I was able to find this file. By the way, did you know, Lori, Lorianne, Jennifer, and everyone, you could take any sort of PSD and add T to the end, and that makes it a Photoshop template. So now when I double click it on this tree line art file, it opens up as untitled one. So I'm never going to overwrite the original. So that also works for Illustrator, maybe InDesign, but I don't know about InDesign. But it also works for Illustrator, so that's super cool. 2 for 1 today. Yeah, there's so anyways, that's how I found this file. How was it started? Well, I used a ton of assets, and a lot of times I'll have a lot of assets on my desktop, a lot of images that I want to load in and start my collage. You could do this in Bridge, but you could also go to File, Scripts, and you could load a bunch of files into layers. I don't know why it says stack, right? Because it actually does more than just loads it into layers. So that's what we're trying to say there. But essentially, I can go to, that particular folder on my desktop called Vehicles, and load all that in into layers. So here they all are. You could actually attempt to automatically line out source images and stuff like that. But I'll just do that. And notice what it's going to do. I'll just click OK. Is it actually names all my layers the file name. So yeah, helpful, I think. So let me know if you guys... Oh yeah, so Cheryl Howard knew that as well. Forgot about adding the T. Yeah, that's all you have to do. I thought that was kind of interesting. I think a lot of this might be stuff that, like, I know there's a lot of intelligent people here. Half the things, I've probably forgotten more than I know now. But this stuff kind of slips our mind. So we got old stuff, we got new stuff. This has been around a while, but this is stuff that I use that's super helppful, right? Because loading all these into layers is just so annoying. Just load it all in there. And it'll do its thing. So that's what's happening right now. I'm going to lead right into a pro export tip as well. And it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. How many vehicle images are in there as well? It gives me a chance to drink my cherry coffee. Yeah, 35 images. It just loaded up 35 images into this one file right? And now I have everything all squared away. We can see all of them right in here. So I'm going to save this really fast. You're going to love this. So we'll just save this in a new folder. We'll call this collage. There's my collage PSD. We'll open this up. And here's this is kind of cool. So it named everything the file name. But let's say, for instance, I accidentally like deleted this folder, right? That contains all these vehicles. In fact, I'll do that. Call me crazy. I'm going to throw it away, right? Check this out. I can have layers named .png. I could even do v1, or I could call this airplane.jpg if I want to, right? And we could take all these layers, as long as it's named .jpg, .png, we can export them all out, all of these. So all we need to do there is go to generate image assets. I just think this is so cool. So generate image assets, you'll go there and you're like, oh, what happened? I gotta make sure my brain works, because I gotta make sure this is, there we go, boom, it does work. Look, you'll check that box and you're like, nothing happens. No, it actually creates this collage assets folder. Let's take a look at it this way. It went ahead and knocked out all of those images. There they are. Isn't that amazing? So again, I deleted the folder. I gotta like export out all these layers as files, and that's exactly what happened in the blink of an eye. So good for game UI export type stuff. Totally. It's just so nice. You know, and you could do .jpg. You could do a number of things. Here's, again, pro tips. Did you know you could like do airplane? Let's do 5%. So if you append percentage at the end, it means the quality. Let's just double check. Oh, we got an error. I got to put a space, probably. Or get rid of this space right here at the end. Let's see if that does it. I'm kind of doing this. So at the end, it should be the quality. This percentage is the quality. But if you put it at the beginning, it's going to be like the size. So it might be 50% airplane. So now it's going to output that JPEG at 50%. And again, I'm going to make this like I'm going to make it like 5%. If we put this 5% at the beginning, just because I want to be able to drastically like see a difference. So let's just see if that does what we want it to. Note in here for generate image assets, this box is checked, so it's always working in the background. Right? Uchina, you did not know this. Well, that's why I'm glad you're here. And check this out. We just made it 5% the original size. You can put them in folders too. Thank you, Becca. Ooh, yeah. There's a whole doc out there that I probably need to dig up, but it's been a couple years. But I do. I use this when I need it, and it's just so nice. Actually, all of the overlays and everything that I use come from one file. This is what I do. This is real world stuff, and that's why I'm glad you guys are here. I'll go into like Adobe Live. I'll go in my like backgrounds. I'll generate a bunch of backgrounds that I want for my Adobe Live sessions. But here's like the lower third .png. If I open up this background PSD, so I have one file that has all of my assets for all of my overlays, all my backgrounds, and all that stuff. So I typically just open this up. Everything exists in here. Sure enough, there it is. Yeah, we saw it a second ago. But there's my lower third. And all I do is I name that folder, lower third social.png, and it outputs that, right? I have my starting soon graphic. Let's turn that on. I know it's kind of hard to see. Let's turn on the background. Starting in a moment. There it is. That's what that is, right? Boom, boom. So it's just super nice. Like, thank you, guess, and then just a bunch of different backgrounds for things. So that's all. I think it's pretty darn handy. You love the gray color of Photoshop? Yeah, you know, you could And you can change all that. Let's lead right into interface stuff. Now that I've just briefly talked about sort of bringing everything in and outputting everything really quickly, I can get into more of that, by the way. But let's talk about the interface and creating something like this. But you get the idea for this. I'll just close this. I don't need it anymore. Here's my legit collage. Let's talk about setting up Photoshop. I've talked about this before. Alexander knows this. Like this is for the people who don't know this because I find this so helpful. So like, what's the first thing I do if I install Photoshop on a new laptop? One of the first things I do is I go into my layers, into my panel options, because typically it's set up like this. So notice over here, I can't tell what's what. Out of all these floral.pngs, I don't know what floral that is. Like, and honestly, I just want to be able to see the item. That's why you want to go to the layers panel, go down to panel options, and then turn on layer bounds. Watch my layers panel change as I do this. Change layer bounds. I'll turn off expand new effects. Just once I apply an effect, I'm like, just put the effect away. I did it already. Don't add copy to everything. I don't like that either, right? So I customize this. We'll click OK. Boom. Oh, now we see lovely florals, purple flower, red flower, all the things. These T's, oh, those are like, oh, that's a camera. That's a phone. That's a camcorder. So it's one of the first things I do. So many flowers. Another thing, if you're navigating a file, so we're making Photoshop easy to work with. Garden thing, copy 7. By the way, if you need to name these, so many tips. By the way, I have a whole document that's up to like 60 tips and tricks and stuff like that I'll share with you guys at the end of this. But right in here, like if you want to rename these, just click once. Right, you could do flower 1, and then if you do tab, it'll go to the next one, flower 2 or whatever. Just hit the tab key, and that will allow you to rename everything pretty easily, which I like. Okay, so anyways. No skulls. That's right. We could talk about skulls. Where can we get more skulls, more flowers? That's a great idea. And as part of like tricking out Photoshop, which is probably what I'd call this segment, is we can go to plugins. We can browse plugins. You could see a number right in here, but I load in a couple plugins. Will be one of the next things that I do right in here. You can see free stock search 2, one that's free skin beauty retouch. Haven't used that, so use at your own risk. These are not made by Adobe, so like we've verified that it works on our platform, but you know, results may vary since it's not ours. But I use free stock search 2. There's stock solo, and that's where I'd get my skulls. So now that they're installed, by the way, we'll jump back in here. We'll go to plugins. We'll go to free stock search. Here it is. Oh, I got to activate it. This is where everybody sees my email, and that is okay as well. Right in here, and we'll just search for skull. Should be human skull, but there we are. Boom. We have all of our skulls. That's pulling from Pixabay, Unsplash, and a number of places. So yeah, use those plugins because it's super handy. Trying to so this is one of the things you'll run into is like you'll first off I'm pretty sure I have the pro version, but nonetheless you'll run into this because this is free stuff. It's not really going to have what you need, so that's when you probably want to now I gotta see search all libraries. I want to search Adobe Stock. Let's go in here real fast. Okay, this is interesting. So you're like, we have Adobe Stock as well. There's a ton of free images in Adobe Stock. You can use your libraries panel. I do think this is kind of weird because I actually have to go into a library and here usually search the current library. Well, if you do this drop down, you can change that to Adobe Stock. So from there, I can search for human skull, you know, and I would do like side view or something like that. Human skull side. This is what I want. So that's how you can kind of quickly grab an image. I've already purchased this one. You know it. So yeah, I can save to my library and start to use it. That's all. You guys get the idea. You set this. Okay, let's talk about scratch discs. Let's talk about friggin' tricking out Photoshop, okay? Let's do it. But yeah, I feel the need. Somebody said skulls, and then I went on a tangent. And, you know, there's my human skull that we'll talk about some more in a little bit. Right. So we could talk about shortcuts all day long. Like, you guys, you know, are probably zooming in and all that stuff. Like, you could zoom in. Let's talk about shortcuts. Panning around, you know, finding images. If you hold down the H key, you can zoom out. So H is for, I would say, helicopter or hover. It's like a helicopter view. Allows you to bounce back out and then go to a different part within your design. But you can start working, hold the H again, bounce back out, zoom over there. You guys get the idea. You know, Command 0. Here's another thing, by the way. As we're navigating, just like we were doing over here, it's like, well, we see that this is now a yellow flower, but where the heck is it? Where is it in here, in this mess of things? Well, you can hold on the Option key, Option click on the thumbnail, and it'll jump right to that, the contents of that layer within your current document view. So that's all I'm doing is Option clicking, and I'm able to bounce around. I'm able to find, what did I just see? A cool Casio watch? That's another thing we might want to do. It's like, okay, we're here. I want to see where this is. If you check this out, so many tips. I have the move tool selected. You might have auto select turned on. I usually turn that off, but it doesn't matter. Either way, you can toggle that by using the Command key. So the Command key allows you to select things on the canvas. So that in this case, we're doing the reverse of that. It's like I want to find out where this is in my layer stack. Command click. Oh, there it is. It jumps right to that layer. Command click. You see my layers changing and bouncing around and stuff like that. Right? Oh yeah, Control 0 is my friend too. Yeah, I agree. I did just recently learn about holding down Command and the space bar, and that will allow you to zoom in and out as well. So that's a quick zoom in and out by holding down the Command and the space bar. Okay, space bar allows you to pan around. Hold down the Command key with it, and you can zoom in and out. What I don't like is that's also the same shortcut for my Mac desktop search, Spotlight search, which is probably why I don't use that shortcut. I just do Command plus and minus and 0. So we're bebopping around our file, right? Finding what we need. So that's the goal. Yeah, if you're joining me over there on like YouTube, you could always come to behance.net/Adobe Live. Jan Kabilli's here. What's up? I just learned something. Oh, Jan. Oh, I taught Jan something. That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on LinkedIn. This is so cool. Yeah, a little helicopter view. So you guys should know about that. This is the document I'm going to share with you, by the way. Ooh, where is it? Where is it? I must have already closed it. And this is my long list of like just shortcuts that you should know. You know, and I forget them sometimes too, and it's okay. But Command J, you know, to jump or duplicate a layer. Merge a copy, so you can do Control or Command. Command Shift Alt E to merge a copy of all the layers. F to cycle through workspace backgrounds. You guys should know that. So it's like, again, we want to duplicate a layer. Command J, moving that object. Hit F a couple times. We get this full-on view. Everybody can see it, right? Things like that. Moving this up and down in the layer stack. Oh, did I just do something else that I didn't know about? What am I? I don't even know what I'm doing. I think I just learned something here. Okay, option. How is that a thing? So let me just select something and get out of here. Option right arrow duplicates a layer. I just found out about that. I usually use Command J. Most people use Command J. Anyways, that's all. What I wanted to do is show you how to move this up and down in the layer stack. Because where is this particular image? Oh, by the way, here's another way to find things. You can hold down the Option key and click on the eyeball. So Option click, that'll hide everything else and then just show that one object. Boom, and we're back. We could also do a, what else can we do? Nothing. But I like the Option click, just hides everything else if you wanted to see it. But I'm like, oh, I kind of want to move this phone down in the layer stack. This whole stack of layers, I want to move it down or up. That's going to be Command open and close brackets. See how it's moving in my it's on my panel on the right. So that's how you can move it up and down. If you do Option, hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Shift Command open bracket, close bracket. We'll move it to the very top of that layer stack and to the very bottom as well. So Command will move it up and down. Command bracket, open bracket will move it up. Command close bracket will move it down. All right. Somebody's on LinkedIn and Behance. Diago, what's up? Good to have you here. So, yeah, you guys kind of get the idea. We get to jump back out. We have a ton of more, shortcuts. Yeah, you could see all those shortcuts. Chances are, by the way, they're all in here. Look at the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, you can check those out, right? You're going to want to customize this. Yeah, we all do. I would love to hear your favorite shortcuts. If you've modified or added any of your own keyboard shortcuts, let me know what yours are. Mine, I have probably 4 that I use a lot. One that I use a lot is turning this into a smart object, right? Because I have this phone, right? There's a chance that I want to, maybe it's large and I want to shrink it down. Anytime before I shrink something down, I turn it into a smart object so I can retain all those pixels. And so I've set up a shortcut for it. We'll just watch it in action. Yeah, why not? Control, Option, Command, S. Did I not? Yeah, there we go. Worked. It did it so fast. We'll look at this little square. My personal shortcut, boom. Just turn that into a smart object. So that's what I do. My shortcuts are always all of the modifier keys. So Control, Option, Command, because I know not all 3 of those are taken up at once. And then I add a letter. So Control, Option, Command, T for tile. Boom, we could tile every however many windows are open. And the one next to it, to consolidate, I just hit R. So I'm able to jump around, go to a different file, convert to smart object. I'll use Puppet Warp a lot. So Control, Option, Command, P. And it should do it. Let's see if I do have it. Oh, maybe I don't have it turned on. I just reset Photoshop recently just to go through this whole tutorial myself. But if I did want to hook that up, obviously, go through keyboard shortcuts. Here's another thing you do. You ready for this? We all know, okay, you probably all know that you can go in, you can say, hey, for all the flowers, we could change the colors, all those layers, we can make them red. So all the flowers are red and the technology is going to be like blue, right? We could color the layers, but did you know you can color menu items as well? So you could color these so they stand out more, and you could even get rid of some. So we can go into keyboard shortcuts. Like I said, scroll down. Puppet Warp is actually the one I want to add a shortcut to. Boom. And so I added that keyboard shortcut there. I need to go to menus. Sorry about that. I'm going to go into edit. We're going to go down to that Puppet Warp, and I can give it a color in here. So if I want it to stand out a lot, I can change that to say red. Okay. I never use perspective warp. So if I don't even want to show that, and it's just, maybe you're just bitter at it for some dumb reason. But you know what? It's your Photoshop. You do what you want to do it, right? So I'd never use perspective warp. I could just turn that off, right? I don't even need free transform. I use a shortcut key all the time. I don't even need free transform. So again, turn those things off, change the colors, you know, make it easy for you. As I turn a couple of these things red, we'll click OK. And sure enough, as we go right up here, sorry, my Photoshop, but we could see Puppet Warp and content aware scales grayed out because I'm not able to use it right now. But there's Puppet Warp highlighted. It's like, oh, I always know where it is. Like probably for Macs, what I should do is every menu item I go to, I should probably highlight that certain color. But check this out. You know how I got rid of free transform? Well, guess what? Right down here at the bottom, show all menu items. So whatever you hide, bingo, it's back. I think I hid free transform and perspective warp, but that's how I can bring those back. So that's cool. Yeah, let me check chat. I'm sorry, I got so many chats open. Okay, somebody making a joke, and I'm here for it. Okay, Julia, you could use Control-Z to step back through history instead of undo. That was actually hugely important as well when there was no multiple undos. So that is awesome. Into it. So we could change this. We could change our menu off to the side, right? We can customize or edit the toolbar. You guys know about this probably, right? It's like, you know what? I never use the artboard tool. Do I move it over there? What other things do I not use? I don't really use the frame tool, so let's move that over there as well. I don't use a lot of these. I don't actually use this hand. The hand tool? Yeah, I know you're there. I know rotate view tool is there. Yeah, let's just take both of those and move them over. But I do use the custom shape tool and some of these others. So I'll usually pull that out, and now we have that and the custom shape tool, and that's going to save me time when it comes to selecting things. You guys get the idea. And there you have it. We can go ahead and click. Before I even click done, this is a fun thing. You ready? Gosh, what is the shortcut key? I know. Tim knows this. I always forget. So again, I mash a bunch of keys together. Option Command Shift, click done, and then that turns that into a banana. So Option Command Shift and click done when you're in Edit Toolbar, and we'll give you this little banana. So, you know, popular tip. There's also this overscroll. Do you guys like this overscroll? If you like this or not, guess what? Yeah, we can go into preferences and fix that. So we'll go into general. Zoom with scroll. Okay, no, actually, So overscroll I usually turn off. It's already off. But we can go into the interface. Here's another shortcut. You guys probably know this as well. If you don't, hey, that's why we're here. Option Command Shift. So those same three keys, Shift, Option, Command, and then click. and you can change the color theme from like rye toast or cappuccino to white bread / flat white coffee. So anyways, that's just kind of fun. Hidden little things. Oh yeah, Alexander, yeah. Okay, I just read your comment, so I'm glad we're on the same page. I don't think there are any more like visual Easter eggs other than toast, coffee, banana. And I'm like, do we not feed the developers? They're like, they don't let them go to lunch, so they're like just dreaming about food and end up putting these Easter eggs of food in Photoshop. All right, somebody mentioned, working with scratch disks you can change, or performance. I usually click web / UI design to optimize the cache levels, but it depends on what you're doing. So it will change the history states and actually keeps the history states, changes the cache level and cache tile size. What this basically means, and you could read all about it, but this is optimized if you're working in Photoshop with a lot of layers, like I do, you want web UI design. If you're working in really big photos with just like one or a couple layers, then default photos is good. Wait. And a certain monkey in the layer comps. Tim, is that real? I don't know about that. So let me know if there's is there a monkey? Is there another Easter egg that I don't know about? So I'd love to hear. Anything else in here that we need to worry about? Yeah, I think it's all pretty squared away. We talk about technology previews, so keep an eye on this area because this is where we put new stuff. One of those might be this content aware tracing tool. I haven't really used it, so I'm gonna skip it. Right? Here's an important one. Let's go into, we can enable a narrow, history, file handling. Here we are, file handling. Go into file handling, automatically save recovery information every 10 minutes. You can change that if you want. But right in here, default file location. So you could change it from Creative Cloud if you're not using Creative Cloud. Change it to on your computer, right? And then you can enable legacy save as. So this kind of rolls it back if you just want to work on your desktop. Oh, Tim, I don't have time to do this. I'm going to just do a screenshot of your comment right now. Oh, Tim, thank you, buddy. I don't know if you're pulling my leg, but I'm going to test that out. I'm so excited. Thanks, man. That's awesome. So anyways, about it. I don't even know if this is like, do I have an updated version that most people don't have? Here's your cloud documents local working directory. Because if you're working on a cloud document, you've pulled it down from the interwebs. You're actually working on it locally in this location. So anyways, there you have it. Yeah. We could talk a little bit more about files, then I'll actually reference all my notes because I have my iPad. There's Photoshop on the web, so many things. Photoshop on the iPad, a ton more things. Let me just kind of like, again, when I give you guys this document, optimizing Photoshop on the desktop, that's kind of what we've done. I'm just making sure I've covered everything. Yep. I can talk about like Photoshop on the iPad, Photoshop on the web. And this is stuff that we've already done as well. Ooh, this is really good. So I love this option. The option key will change in any dialog. Typically, it will change the cancel buttons. Let me show you what that means. Let's just say I converted this to a smart object. I don't even know what I converted to a smart object. But nonetheless, Command L for levels. Right? So this is the old school levels. By the way, I absolutely love this. Nonetheless, I said old school. and it's awesome. But check this out. Let's just say I'm in here and I'm playing with the levels, doing these different things, or maybe it's curves. If I hold down the Option key, it will change this cancel button to reset. So Option key, click, and then it's back to where it was. This is pretty straightforward because I'm only in levels. You know how to get it back. Just drag it over there. But especially if you're using something like curves or hue and saturation and all that, you're really jacking with it a lot. You can always reset that back just by holding down the Option key. All right. Oh, Julia, can I put you in my pocket, Julia? Because you were so nice to me. That's so nice. It's a good way to start the day. We could talk about pro tips and designer tips, things like that. But let's get into this PSDC. Since I was talking about files, we know where to find this PSD file, right? Boom, it's on my desktop. But we also have cloud documents. So this happens to be a cloud document, PSDC. We could always right-click, and we can check this out on the web. We could share this with others. This button right here. You might not be crazy for how this is blue. Guess what? We're still working on that. But I could share this document. Let's go in here. Anyone with the link can view. People with the link can comment and save a copy. Hey, why not, huh? So that's what I've just done. I'll copy that link, right? And I can send it to you guys. Feel free to comment on this. I'm surprised I don't use this more, to be honest with you. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, you might not have access to this, by the way. You probably have to log in, but I'm actually in Photoshop on the web. So that's what I did. I pasted that link in here. It'll open up Photoshop on the web. It might not for you, but I'm pasting this in chat right now. So pasting it in there. Hopefully it comes through. John, do I have tips for changing costumes, dress from a character? Any specific tutorial I have in the past? Yeah, that's a good question. I do have some tips for changing the color of things and like, sort of brightness, contrast. I don't have anything specific, but I think that's a good request. Sorry, John, I don't have anything offhand. But I don't know, Tim or Alexander, whoever's out there, if you could click on that link, feel free to add comments, but also tell me what happens when you open this. Are you getting Photoshop on the web is what I'd like to know. Oh, so Michelle, do you get Photoshop on the web, or do you just get the ability to add comments? But it should look something like this. All right, Elizabeth, we're already getting comments. So yeah, let me know, do you have the ability to edit it? It might just be me. That's all. Cool. The glow. Oh, look at you. You know how to do it. Frank's in the house. What's up, buddy? Cool. But Frank, you're not able to move anything around. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I have the ability to come in here, and find a planet, Pluto. Oop. Oh yeah, I have that top layer. I'll maybe turn off that top layer. But notice how I'm just kind of changing this. Cannot modify. Thank you. Okay, cool. So I'm the only one, and you should be seeing this kind of change live as well. So if I decide to add a new background with a gradient in there, just do something different. Cool. Thank you, Frank. Awesome. So yeah, I'm just kind of playing with this. And keep in mind, there's actually a lot you can do in Photoshop, like on the web, which it's just absolutely amazing. Okay, won't open in Safari, moving to Chrome. Maybe and by the way, this is beta. But if I could just jump over to this other file that you guys aren't messing with. But check this out. Like, I could take this. Look what we have in here, by the way. We have, you know, sure, tools that we'd expect, but we also have, remove background. So in Photoshop on the web, I can click and remove the background, which is awesome, right? So there I have that. I have this layer. I could take this. I can right click. I can duplicate this layer. I'm amazed at how powerful this is. But notice how I did the remove background. It adds that layer mask and all that stuff. So it's, gives you everything you want. This is what's kind of unique. There's these quick actions in here. So if I think this photo needs to be lightened up, I can just click lighten. This is where I'd ask, I would quiz you. I'd be like, Elizabeth, Steve, other people, like, how would you lighten this photo, right? Because I just clicked on lighten. What do you think happened? Well, take a look. It added curves right over here. So that's what happens when you click on these. You click on darken, it adds curves panel as well. Let's see if I can just move this down. There it is. So that's what it does. It adds curves that then you can adjust further. But I like those little quick actions. It's kind of cool. Isn't that neat? I think we need more of that. Like, give me the quick action to lighten or do this other stuff, but then give me the ability to tweak it more in a more advanced way, which is awesome. By the way, you could also do this, and I could do that with that other file that everybody's people are commented on. Make the logo bigger. I love it. Yeah, let's make the logo bigger. Always make the logo bigger. Let's see what I have. Let's say I have one of these images. I decide I want to put a car out here or something because somebody suggested, put a plane out there or put a car. Here we go. Let's grab this ping. Let's drag it in here and let's see what happens. From my desktop into Photoshop on the web, sure enough, there it is. Sweet. Take that, shrink it down, put it in place, and all that fun stuff. You get the idea. Shrink it down, rotate it. Auto select, nothing. So that's all. Boop, boop. Make the logo bigger. So this is so nice. By the way, I'm reading all these comments and I'm like, that's cool. Do I have to work in Photoshop on the web, even though it's powerful? Can't I just work on all these comments back in Photoshop? Well, you better be able to if you're gonna, if you mention it. But yeah, sure enough, open in desktop app. We'll click there. The problem might be that I might have a conflicted copy. I might have two open at this point. But it's gonna save the file and then open it up in Photoshop on the desktop. Okay. So again, I have this one already open. So that's the deal. Ooh, I would love to know that, Bees. Was anybody seeing it real time on the web? I'd love to know. So now it's in a view only mode. This is probably what you guys were seeing. But it should have opened here, but I actually already closed it as well. So anyways, I got impatient. So here it is. Let's go to comments. So now we have all of those comments that you guys were just like saying, make the logo bigger, any Smurfs. I love it. This way of sharing comes in handy. I agree, Michelle. So this is nice, isn't this? Not crazy about that background. I'll probably turn that off. I see all these comments. I could actually, just continue to work. And that's what I'm doing right now. Bup, bup. There's my car. I can continue to work on that car. On the desktop, it's just like much easier. And then we have these comments. So I should be able to turn these off. So hide annotations, because whoever was clever and did this, I'm super proud of you because that's awesome. But I could turn that off, turn off all those pinpoints and stuff like that and continue to work on it. Right? Cool. Bam. So yeah. Retrieve update. Oh, that's interesting. You get a retrieve update pop-up. So I have this done. I could save it. I really should do much more to this, by the way. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll actually throw hue, saturation, like tweak the color a little bit. Ooh, let's do that. Ooh, I like that. I like getting some like purple in here, and it just looks kind of cool. Maybe because I just like the change. But I'm really into like just getting more of a color splash. Okay. Here's something else we could do. As I'm working on this, by the way, I'm like, okay, well, a gradient would be cool in the background. And we've updated the gradients. So I can jump in. Let's pick something really obnoxious. What are two contrasting? Red to green. Ready? I'm going to do sort of a red to green gradient. Right? We're going to change this to classic. Let me just kind of compare these two. Here's one. We're going to change this to perceptual. So usually perceptual is just going to be like a cleaner gradient. See how that looks? That's like brighter. I can't explain to you what perceptual is. All I know is that it looks better. Okay? But see how we have this one that's like much darker, maybe gets a little muddy. And then we have this version, same two colors, but you can see it's like, it just seems like a better transition and it is a little bit brighter and less muddy. So you notice the difference when it, especially with complementary colors, that's all. But you'll see this perceptual pop up in different places, and that's what that is. Do you know you could do this as well? What if we want to do something cool in the background? Maybe this isn't it, right? It's, oops. This gradient's a little much. Let me turn off that shading. Let's turn off that curves. There we go. Okay, so we're back here, kind of playing with this. Maybe I want to do something like really crazy in the background. So check this out. I'm going to add a gradient this way by going to the gradients panel, and I'll just add a new layer and, you know, click on any one of these. And this is what I'll typically do. I'll click on some of these different ones, right, that we could always change. I'm going to double click on this gradient. Inside of this gradient, I just think this is kind of cool. Say if I want a bunch of crazy colors in my background, you can change the gradient type to noise. What's going to happen is it's going to give you this whole, if you ever wanted to make chaos with colors, this is huge. Just being able to give you all this whole swath of colors, and then you can start hitting randomize. Like, give me some different colors. If you want to exclude certain colors, well, guess what? You can kind of drop that, you know, make it brighter. And actually, let me see if I can. But basically, I'm excluding some colors, right, by dragging these. Let's click restrict colors. You can see I'm just restricting to the two colors that I currently had. But check that out. Isn't that kind of nice? If you want something kind of, some astral projection weird stuff, it's just kind of cool. Right, I'll go back into something a little bit more crazy. We have that. Click OK, and it's just a cool pattern, all using noise, which I think is pretty sweet. Right? And then we could have as much fun with this as we want. What would I do? I'd make a smart object, and I'd start liquefying this thing. Just because that's what I do, people. But it's just cool taking all those colors, and now we're going to have something like really crazy out of it, and just cool and I don't know, trippy. Okay, click OK, done. Let's get into some more things that are really helpful. And let me actually reference all my notes, but I want to get into sort of like how to like blend shadows and things like that. Ooh, this is so good too. Increase contrast without changing the color. So let's open up that file. This is just so important. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to run out of time. But let's open up this particular file I was working on. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was doing is I was, Clarissa, I was creating a noise gradients. So it's in those preferences for the gradient, go from solid to noise, restrict those colors, do all the fun things that you want. But this is a situation where like, actually, let's take a look at this. Okay. So this is kind of what I was working on. It's like, okay, let's give her a tattoo. And I'm still working on this. Let's add some real life things to it. And, you know, sometimes you'll paint a shadow in here. And I get it. I've done this before as well. For this butterfly underneath, you're painting. Do you really want to paint? No. You want to make the background image darker. You don't really want to paint with black. I get it. I've been there. I do it still to this day. But you want to be more clever than that. So even here, like typically I'll see people, this is the sign of somebody who's just like kind of starting out. You'll select a brush. You'll go in here. You'll take the flow down. And you're like, oh, I want to make this stand out. So you'll just start painting black, right? And it's kind of a clear giveaway that it's just fake. Okay. So we want to be smarter than that. In fact, what we want to do is we want to not introduce a new color, but take wherever I want the shadow to be cast. We basically want to add curves adjustment layer. Let's throw curves in there. Watch what happens if I crank this down, right? Okay, this is kind of more along the lines of what I want, as I want that to be dark. So let's invert this mask. Let's hit B for brush. Let's start painting again. I'll crank this up a little bit more. But you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So we're keeping the texture and all that stuff, and we can change it in here as well. So we're like, okay, we could take this gradient, you know, make it darker and all that stuff. The problem is that it's increasing the saturation, right? So we don't really want to do that. We want to just make it darker without changing the color. And that's when we get into these blend modes. So all you need to do is select your curves layer and then say, hey, you know what? Only change the brightness and darkness. Don't mess with the color. Just change that to luminosity and watch how this changes. Actually, it's already changed, but here it is before, and then here it is after. Bing, there we are. How nice is that, by the way? So look, see how it makes that darker and just is gonna look 1,000 times better. So that's the goal when it comes to sort of like making shadows. And that's more of a pro tip. And I thought it was like super helpful. So that's all. I'd still need to work on this some more. But you get the idea. And this works for everything. But that's when you want to, you know, use curves and then change this down to luminosity. If you want to change the color without changing the brightness, you want to do the opposite. So I'll just throw another curves in here. Right, this curves affects the whole image. Let's put this on the very top. Now that we know our shortcut key, Shift, Command, closing bracket, puts it on top. But, you know, we can make everything, see how it's making everything darker? Well, it's like, I can go to, and I probably should have picked something else. But if I change this to color hue, color, let me just check this. It's changing, it does what I want it to, and I should have selected hue and saturation, but it's changing the color without changing the brightness. So it's the opposite of what I just did. Change the color without changing the brightness. So again, I should have done that with hue and saturation. So this is the case, we take this, yeah, we're changing the whole color, but if this gets all wacky, watch when I just change this to like color, it's only changing the color and none of the brightness or anything like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so everybody, appreciate you guys. Bobby Orlando's in the house. What you doing, man? So I'm going to share this file with you guys. Feel free to let me know what you think. And I'm going to just paste this into chat. And feel free to go nuts with it. You can't really do anything. You shouldn't be able to edit it. But Anyways. Yep. There we go. So we have about, there's about 59 like tips and stuff like that. I probably got through half of them. So I'll have to do that again later. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.